Welcome to the Capital Quality Infant and Toddler Only Framework webinar. Thank you so much for joining us today. On our agenda, we're going to go over the revised timeline for the 2018-2019 Capital Quality Rating and Designation process. Then we will move into the Capital Quality Rating and Designation for the Infant and Toddler Only Framework. And finally, we will conclude with next steps. Firstly, we'll go over the revised timeline. OSSI will complete the 2018-2019 Capital Quality Rating and Designation for all child development facilities participating in Capital Quality. That's Pilot, Group 2, Group 3, and Group 4, according to the revised timeline shown in Table 1 on this slide. For reference, the previous timeline is shown and marked with strike-through. As you can see, the Capital Quality Designation will be determined for all groups in fall of 2019. At that time, tiered reimbursement will change only if the facility's designation is higher. As you can see, the hold harmless policy will end and tiered reimbursement will fully align to facility designation, whether it is higher or lower, in fall of 2020 for Pilot and Group 2, fall of 2021 for Group 3, and fall of 2022 for Group 4. Now we're going to move into speaking about the Capital Quality Rating and Designation, and I'm going to turn it over to my colleague, Dr. Bonnie McIntosh, the Director of Policy Planning and Research for the OSSI Division of Early Learning.
Great, thanks so much. So we'll start by just talking about some of the definitions that we use when talking about capital quality. So the first is the word framework, which refers to both the type of setting, so whether you're in a home or a center-based setting, and the age group of the children served. So this could be birth to 5, infants and toddlers, or so on. Of course, everyone in this webinar is in an infant and toddler only setting and a center-based setting. So the framework is also used in combination with the metric that is used when conducting the observation. So in this case, this will refer to the ITERS observation. The metric, which is the next definition, is also just used, the word used to describe the measure we used when conducting the observation. We also talk about the floor, which you see there in red, and you'll see this throughout the presentation as well. This is the minimum value for which any points are awarded for any metric, in this case, again, ITERS, indicating the minimum level of performance that is acceptable for a program to receive points in the capital quality rating system. In addition to the floor, we also talk about the target, which you see there in green. That's the value for which there is a maximum number of points awarded for a metric, indicating the desired level of performance for achieving the stated outcome in the capital quality rating system. And we'll show you each of these in more detail as we go through the presentation. The rating refers to the numeric score, which ranges from a score of 0 to 100 points that is earned each year upon calculating the facility's scores from each of the metrics according to the formula for the framework. And we will show you this in detail later in the presentation. Finally, we use that rating, which is on our score of 0 to 100, to inform the facility's designation. This is the level of quality based on the points that have been earned. There are 4 designations: developing, progressing, quality, and high quality. We also do have a designation of preliminary when facilities are still in the process of being rated to determine the capital quality designation of developing, progressing, quality, or high quality. We also would like to just share the distribution in the district for this previous program year by framework. So there are about 14%, 13.92% of infant and toddler only facilities in the district. There are 8% of preschool pre-K only programs. There are 22.78% of child development homes and child development expanded homes. And more than half of the programs, 55.27% of the programs, are birth to 5 programs in the District of Columbia. Participating in capital quality, I should add. Okay, so next we've talked about the definition, so we all have a good operating set of terms. And so now we want to walk you through both the settings that different facilities are in and the measures that are used to capture those observations. So for centers serving birth to 5 age group children, those facilities will have both class observations with the class pre-K and infant and toddler scales, the ITERs are. For centers serving only preschool age pre-K, they will just have the class pre-K. And centers serving infants and toddlers only, like those of us on this webinar, you will only have the ITERs are observation. And for facilities that are child development homes or expanded homes, those facilities will only be observed with the Family Child Care Environment Rating Scale, revised, also known as the FICRS-R. So as I said in a previous slide, these measures are also called metrics. So there are 2 types of environment rating scales: the Infant Toddler Environment Rating Scale, revised, also called ITERs, and the Family Child Care Environment Rating Scale, also called FICRS. We also refer to those as the ERS measures. And we also have the Classroom Assessment Scoring System for pre-K, the class pre-K, and all of these have floors and targets. Those were the green and the red terms on the definition slide that are research-based. So we will use those as we go through our ratings calculations later on in this presentation. But to start, we want to give you an overview of the ERS, or the Environment Rating Scales. So both the ITERs and the FICRS items measure the extent to which early care and education environments promote children's health and safety and stimulate children through language and activities with providers that are warm and supportive interactions. Both the ITERs and the FICRS metrics utilize 6 subscales, which are then used in the calculation of the total score used in the rating. Both of those measures do have 7 subscales, but only 6 of them are used in the capital quality scoring and rating. Those 6 subscales that are used in the scoring for capital quality include space and furnishings, personal care routines, listening and talking, activities, interactions, and program structure. The 7th subscale is the parents and staff subscale, but those are not included in the overall scores. Each of those items from those different subscales are measured on a scale of 1 to 7, with higher scores indicating higher quality. On this slide, you'll see examples from both FICRS and ITERs of indicators that capture children's safety, health, and stimulation in activities and interactions with the provider. We would like to show you examples of how lower scores that indicate minimal quality differ from higher scores that indicate good to excellent quality. Items for FICRS and ITERs are very similar, and the main difference is that items for FICRS are things that you might see in family child care settings, whereas items for ITERs are things you would see in center-based settings. So I'm going to focus on those that you'll see in the center-based settings. So things for ITERs are designed for use, as I said, designed for use in infant and toddler classrooms. So at the lower end of the floor, we might see things that indicate minimal quality, such as things that books are in good repair. There's occasional smiling, talking, and affection with children. The schedule meets the needs of most of the children, and attention is on caregiving, and there's a moderate amount of talking. In contrast, when scores are at the higher end, and they meet the target score, these indicate good to excellent quality. We see in a classroom like this that books are set up for independent and shared use. There are frequent interactions that are responsive to children's mood and needs. The schedule is modified to meet children's needs, and supervision is individualized. We also see that there is a wide range of vocabulary used and verbal play with children. This next slide provides an overview of class. But we're going to go ahead and move ahead to the next set of information that's specifically about infant and toddler classrooms. So on this next slide, we see the ways in which the capital quality rating is calculated across 2 years. So what we see here in both the text and the graphic representation is that the current year score is worth 70% of your capital quality rating, and the previous year's score is worth 30% of your capital quality rating. On this slide, we see the way in which the scores that are calculated in your capital quality rating are then translated into your designation. So for each set of points, there is a range of points that is associated with each designation. So if you score below the floor on all subscales, you will earn a designation of developing. But if you have scores between 0.01 and 33.33 points across all subscales, you will earn a designation of progressing. If you earn 33.34 points to 66.66 points across all subscales, you will earn a designation of quality. And if you earn 66.67 points to 100 points across all subscales, you will earn a designation of high quality.
Now we're going to transition into talking about how the capital quality rating is calculated for infant and toddler only framework in particular. And joining us is Dr. Alicia Harmon with the OSSI Division of Data Assessment and Research.
Thanks, Sarah. The capital quality rating for the infant and toddler only framework is determined using 2 scores, the ITER score for the current year and the ITER score for the previous year, both relative to the target and the floor. Now, as you mentioned earlier, the ITER score is the average of the scores you received for the 6 subscales. We are excluding the 7th subscale, parents and staff, from the average. And the next few slides, I'll use an example facility to demonstrate how the ITER score is calculated into a rating, then ultimately assigned a designation. So first, I want to provide an overview of how the points are allotted. This graphic illustrates how the points are created from the current year and the previous year. The first row at the top shows the total points possible range from 0 to 100. The second row shows the breakdown by year. A facility can receive a maximum of 70 points for the current year's score and a maximum of 30 points for the previous year's score. The third row shows that all of this facility's points come from the ITER metric. And finally, the fourth and final row shows the calculation. We take 70, which again is the maximum number of points one can earn for that year, and multiply it by the result of the current year's score minus the floor, divided by the target minus the floor. Then we do similar steps for the previous year's score. Except we multiply 30, which is the maximum number of points you can receive for the previous year, by the result of the previous score minus the floor, divided by the target minus the floor. Then we add those 2 results for each year together to arrive at total points. Now I'll provide an example in the next slide where we can plug in the numbers for the example. So for this example, the facility earned a score of 5.5 for the current year and 5.0 for the previous year on ITERs. For ITERs, the floor is a 3 and the target is a 6. We can continue to the next slide where we will see where we plug in these numbers. To simplify calculating the framework points earned, the current year's points and previous year's points are calculated separately. We'll start with the steps within the parentheses. So first, we will take the current year's score minus the floor. So we will take 5.5 minus 3, which if you go down to the last formula, you'll see that's 2.5 divided by 3. The denominator has target minus floor, which is 6 minus 3, which equals 3. And so we'll take the 2.5 divided by 3 and multiply that by 70, which again is the maximum number of points that the facility can earn for the current year. We multiply 70 times 2.5 divided by 3 equals 58.33. And we'll do similar steps for the previous year. So we'll take 30 times the previous year's score, which is 5 in this example, minus the floor, which is 3, divided by 6 minus 3, which again is the target and the floor. The targets and the floors do not change by year. They remain constant. So 5 minus 3 equals 2, which will stay on the bottom row there, and then 6 minus 3, with the denominator, equals 3. So we'll multiply 30, which is the maximum number of points the facility can earn for the previous year's score, by 2 divided by 3, which equals 20. Then we'll combine those two scores together, both the current year's points at 58.33 and the previous year's points, 20, which equals 78.33 points. And this rating of 78.33 will translate into a high-quality designation. You'll find that 78.3 falls between 66.67 to 100, which is our high-quality designation field.
After having reviewed the calculation of the capital quality rating for the Infant and Toddler Only framework, we're now going to move into next steps and introduce Michelle Reed, who is the Program Manager for Capital Quality and Child Care Resource and Referral with the OSSI Division of Early Learning.
Thank you, Sarah. It's important to make note of the next steps in the process. Here at OSSI, we want to ensure the highest level of accuracy and transparency with this entire process. And so we're doing these recordings, and we have the website listed here for you to take a visit, make notes multiple times, and share with staff as appropriate. The validation period we're starting, this is where you'll be reviewing the information that we do have on file here. That validation period is from September 16th through September 30th, 2019. And this provides an opportunity for you providers to validate your 2018 and 2019 capital quality ratings, designations, and other information that we'll be sharing on the capital quality profile. By 5 p.m. on September 30th, this is where the submissions of concern about the accuracy of the information or the calculation of the capital quality ratings are due. So please note that date and time, because as of October 15th, OSSI will no longer respond to any concerns after this date. It is critical that providers adhere to the September 30th deadline to submit concerns, since OSSI will not respond to concerns raised after the 30th of September. And validation is a passive process, so there's not a requirement for submissions or concerns. But please make note that you do make the notification. Thank you. To ensure your contact information is accurate, please visit your files with OSSI. Make sure we have updated information for the point of contact, and please contact your respective licensing specialist for any additional updates. Please sign up for technical assistance during the validation period. Review the validation guide that will be available later this month, next month in September. Please keep in mind that your quality facilitators and education service monitors can support their assigned facilities during the validation period. Please attend all webinars on the validation process and QuickBase app during the week of September 9th through 13th. Again, make sure information is accurate, and please make appointments to attend office hours. We are having scheduling forthcoming, and please make note of questions as you go through these webinars so that you can make the best use of those office hours. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Shortly, we're going to move into questions and answers for those participants who are joining us live today. However, if you have any other questions, please do feel free to contact us at capitalquality@dc.gov, and one of our Capital Quality team members will respond to your question promptly. And thank you for joining us today.